Hello friends, this is Raman with your weekly Forex market analysis for the week of April 24th. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. If you have questions about your individual investment needs, I recommend you talk to your investment advisor. So we'll start off by taking a look at our economic calendar to understand what fundamental news is coming out this week. Then we'll get into commitment of traders data to look at how the big financial institutions and asset managers are positioned. And finally, we'll get into technical analysis and look at some of the levels that may be interesting to trade from for this week. Starting the week off on Monday, we have German IFO business climate. This is important number for the Eurozone, so we'll pay attention to that. Going into Tuesday, we have core durable goods and durable goods orders for US dollar. This points to the state of the economy for the US dollar, so this will be important number for the US. We have Bank of Canada Governor Poloz speaking twice on Tuesday, so something to pay attention to. Market generally would be looking to his comments to understand what Bank of Canada may want to do with their policy. Then we have consumer confidence number for the US, again, a very important number. Going into the Asian session for Tuesday, we have CPI, which is the inflation data for Australian dollar. This will be a very important number, so we do need to pay attention to that. And on Wednesday is a big day in terms of data that's coming out. We have preliminary GDP data for British pound, which will be important. And getting into the US session, we have crude oil inventories, and then most importantly, FOMC statement and federal funds rate. The Fed is not expected to make any changes to the rates at this point. However, Fed has been extremely dovish over the last few months, so this will be a very important time. If we hear more dovish commentary from the Fed, this could cause a drop in the US dollar. We also have a New Zealand official cash rate and rate statement. Again, they're not expected to change the rates. However, a New Zealand dollar has been going up lately. So the central bank may be worried about the currency strength, and they may actually make some comments around the currency strength. If that's the case, it could push the New Zealand dollar down. Then on the same day, we also have monetary policy statement and Bank of Japan outlook report. Japanese yen has been strengthening over the last little while, and Bank of Japan is concerned about the currency strength because it impacts their exports. Because of that, this will be something important to pay attention to. We also have Bank of Japan press conference following the outlook report. So again, this is where anytime there's central bank data coming out, very, very important to make sure your positions are protected. And then going into Thursday, we have advanced GDP number for the US, which will be important in unemployment claims. And then we have the business climate for a New Zealand dollar and PPI number for Australian dollar. Closing the week off on Friday, we have retail sales data for Germany, and then we have SNB Chairman Jordan speaking. Going into the US session, we have a Canadian GDP number, which will be important for the Canadian dollar. And then we have core PCE price index, which the Fed monitors closely, and employment cost index and personal spending. We also have Chicago PMI and revised UOM consumer sentiment number. Even though this doesn't show as red news here, it is still very important for the US. And on Saturday, we close the week off with manufacturing PMI numbers for China. So this week, especially Wednesday here, is very, very important day with a lot of central bank statements coming out. So let's pay attention to that. Moving on to our commitment of traders data, we will start off with Euro COT data here. Looking at the Euro here, we actually see a slight increase in short positions by the leveraged money. If you look at the green line here, the short positions in euro have increased from 47,490 to 50,877. However, on the flip side, we see an increase in the long positions by asset managers, and these have improved substantially. They have gone from 38.32 to 12,177. So that's quite a big increase in terms of long positions for the euro from asset managers. So in the short term, it seems like we are looking at further downside in the euro, but over the long term, these asset manager positions suggest that there may be some upside in the euro left still. Moving on to British pound here. Again, here we have been seeing a decrease in short positions recently in both euro and pound. However, this week here we see a decrease in short positions by the leverage funds, which is the green line here. They increased their short positions from 36,000 to 40,538. Like in euro, we have actually seen here asset manager positions have changed to the positive side for the British pound here, we saw a decrease in the short positions from 78,721 to 66,444. So that's a substantial drop in the short positions for the asset manager, which in the long term would suggest a further upside in the pound. However, over the short term, with the leverage funds actually increasing their short positions, this suggests a downside for the British pound. Looking at the Canadian dollar here, we see an increase in asset manager long positions. They went from 29,563 to 32,400. And likewise, we see a decrease in short positions by leveraged fund from negative 4,500 to negative 1,900. So overall, this looks very bullish for Canadian dollar. So dollar CAD would be short. Looking at Australian dollar data here, we see further bullishness in Australian dollar. The leverage funds long positions have increased further. They've gone from 34,834 to 45,194. And for asset manager, they have gone from 32,700 to 32,417. So overall, this is long for Australian dollar. Finally, looking at New Zealand US dollar here. New Zealand long positions have increased further. Leverage money long positions have gone from 7,000 to 8,300. So that's a good increase in the long positions here. For the asset managers, though, we see the positions have stayed pretty flat. Overall, this would point to a bullishness for New Zealand dollar. Let's move on to the charts now. We are looking at Euro US dollar weekly chart. We saw the euro close the week out in negative territory. The prices dropped here for the euro. From the weekly perspective, euro looks like a short. On the daily chart here as well, daily candle closed very bearish. Now for this week, we'll be looking for a further downside in the euro. However, euro could rally a bit. So we'll be looking to sell rallies here. If it comes to this 1.1337 area and the price holds below this level, this would be a potential good short. Or if the price comes to this 1300 level and is not able to hold above that, this could be a good short as well. And the target we're looking at here is in this 111.50 area. So that will be our potential target. Again, we're looking for price to hold below 1300 or 1330 over here. For the pound, this was a different story. Weekly candle here closed very bullish, and on the market open here, we saw a big gap up. And now right now we're looking for the gap to be filled. And at that point, we'll have to see how this behaves. However, from the weekly perspective, this is bullish, so we would be looking for a pullback and then a further move to the upside. Looking at the daily candle here, again, a bullish close for the pound and a gap up on the open today. So right now we are looking for this gap to close. So we're looking for price to move back into potentially into this level to fill the gap, the open gap. From there, we'll have to see if it holds above this 1420 level, then we'd be looking for a further move to the upside here. Potential levels that we'd be watching for the pound, the first one will be 144.70 level, which is the high here, and this is where the price traded to on the open. And then further up, we are looking at 145.20-ish level. Now, if the price holds above this 44.60 level, then potentially we're looking at the 45.20 and then further up into this 146 level. However, there is still divergence in terms of British pound monetary policy with the US monetary policy. So there could be, so this might be an opportunity to potentially sell rallies. However, we have to be mindful that the price doesn't start holding above, because there could be a short squeeze and price could get pushed up as well. So be mindful of what levels the price is holding here. For Australian US dollar, on the weekly chart, we did see that the price closed out in the positive territory. However, it hasn't held above these highs here at 77.40 area. It closed below that. From the daily perspective, however, the last few days have seen some selling coming in. Price did open to the downside here, but it has filled that small gap that was there. So for now, we'd be watching this 77.38 level, which is right here. We'll see if the price can hold below this. If it does, we are looking for price to potentially come back into this 76.30 area. However, if it starts trading above 77.38, we are looking for a potential move up to 78.30 level. And if the price shows a rejection at this level, we could trade it to the downside. In this case, we'll have to be open to a move to both sides. New Zealand weekly close was actually quite bearish. Nice pin bar on the weekly chart, which points to further downside in the New Zealand. Looking at the daily chart here as well, the daily close was very bearish. It did come into some support here though. So for now, we'd be watching this 6900 level. If the price stays below the 6900 level, we're looking for a potential move to the downside here, potentially into 6750. Or if the price stays below the 6865 level, then we'll be looking for another move to the downside. However, if the price does start trading above 6900, we are looking for a potential move up. Again, it could go and test 69.65, which is this high, or it could go higher. So looking for price action to tell us where the price is going and what to trade. But these are two levels that I'd be watching for New Zealand dollar this week. Dollar CAD here closed the week in very strongly in the negative territory. We did see a push up, but it did close a week very strongly here to the downside. Looking at the daily here, it has been trading in this bit of a range over the last few days. So now the question is where it goes next. So 27.57 could still be a potential short opportunity if it doesn't hold above this level. If it does start holding above the 127.50 area, we are looking for a potential move up to the next level here, which could be 129.80 or potentially into 129.24 area. So those are the levels we'll be watching. On the downside here, we are looking for, if the price stays up below 127.50, we are looking for a potential move to the downside to 125.68. Canadian dollar has been very dependent on the oil lately, so we'll have to watch the price of oil to see what's going on with the oil. If the oil goes up, then Canadian dollar will go up, which means dollar CAD would move to the downside. So we'll have to watch the price of oil closely, and same with the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as well. We'll have to see what's going on with the commodities, because these currencies are heavily related to the commodities. So that's all for this week. Good luck with your trading, and I will see you next week.